British farmers have seen agricultural improvements transform their farms and improve productivity beyond anything previous generations could have dreamt of. But while our own productivity has been rising, the same isn't true of some developing countries. Long-term underinvestment in agriculture means that many countries in Africa continue to be amongst the poorest in the world. 86% of Africans are small-scale farmers and livestock keepers. Productivity is often only a third of what it might be, and many farmers don't produce enough food to meet their own family's basic needs, let alone a surplus to sell. Rising food prices are causing increasing problems for everyone, but in developing countries, food security is a life or death issue, particularly in some African countries where much of the population is surviving on less than $1 a day. But it doesn't all have to be about poverty and despair. During its centenary, the NFU is working with farmers and industries across agriculture to launch a fresh initiative which will offer sustainable, long-term solutions to food shortages in East Africa. The Africa 100 appeal will depend on the generosity of UK farmers to provide targeted funds to help African farmers improve their productivity and thus supply more food for their communities. This appeal is working with the registered charity Farm Africa to bring sustainable benefits to small farming communities in some of the poorest countries in the world. Farm Africa has been working in Tanzania, Kenya, Ethiopia and southern Sudan for more than 20 years, helping groups of farmers use improved cultivation techniques and better genetics to achieve food security and an income for their families and their communities. If you donate to Africa 100, these are the types of projects you'll be supporting. These farmers were taught to grow and market indigenous vegetables like amaranthus, which grow much more successfully with fewer inputs than non-native crops such as cabbages. This Kenyan farmer used to milk his single cow by hand, but since learning about how to improve the animal's diet in 2001, his cow's been producing 3 or 4 litres extra milk per day. With the income, he's been able to buy more stock and invest in a portable milking machine. Another example is in Homa Bay in western Kenya on the shores of Lake Victoria. The rural areas around Homa Bay are hard to reach along potholed dirt tracks. There are no local services, and the only way for most families to transport their goods is in a wheelbarrow. As a result of HIV and AIDS, there are large numbers of single-parent families and orphans. Farm Africa recognised the need for intervention in the face of a rising sense of hopelessness in the area. Sweet potato is a common local crop, but it's a variety that offers low yield and very few nutrients. Many people suffered from poor eyesight and poor general health due to a deficiency of vitamin A. Farm Africa offered 20 groups of farmers training in growing a variety of sweet potato that would produce abundant crops rich in vitamin A. One of them is the Achuni Widows and Widowers Group. This was specifically formed for members who had lost their husband or wife to AIDS. Seeing a way of improving their lives, each member of the group approached the project with enthusiasm. They learned how to cultivate the new variety of sweet potato and a variety of ways to market it locally. All members of the group reported better health. They've also come to rely on one another for help with their plots. As a result of the improved productivity and local sales, members of the group are able to achieve a small income, which many of them use to pay for school costs. A number of them can also now afford to take in local orphans who would otherwise be living on the streets. Widower Charles Abbich is the leader of the group and now has the resources to care for 5 orphans along with his own 2 children.
When you hit this, you don't get disease that makes people blind.
These are just some examples of how improved farming can help a community. The Africa 100 appeal will help to break the desperate cycle of poverty and food insecurity. It will provide sustainable solutions to hunger and malnutrition. Please make a donation and help African farmers to feed themselves and their communities. The NFU and its partner organisations are doing all the administrative work, so all your donation will go to a project. To donate, please call 020 7430 0440. Visit the website at africa100appeal.com or fill in the form on the back of your leaflet.